I got this weird opportunity with Bally Midway, and you should probably use this as the graphic maybe, to work on the WrestleMania arcade game, you know? Bally Midway, Mark Trammell, and I forget the other fella's names. There's another guy that's right below Mark that pretty much fucking reinvented or maybe invented the video game industry, man. They were responsible for NBA Jam, and they wanted to do that with wrestling, you know? So that was wild. I was learning how to be a businessman, even though I had some decent business principles from watching everything I saw in Memphis. But I started to realize how hard it was to show people like that, who were accomplished in that, who were sensitive and, you know, would take how you said things very personal, you know what I mean? How to put that shit together and bridge those gaps, as well as incept and be, in part, creative, you know, putting that fucking game together, you know? So I'm the first one in, work with the crew, 2 or 3 really long motherfucking 16-hour days, man. Coming up with shit and working with what they had, because God forbid they bring a fucking ring in, you know? But nobody really thought like that at the time, you know? If I was Bally Midway, I would have bought those poor guys a ring because they're working with what they were working with, you know? So we're trying to put this shit together, and if you look back, it was a pretty fucking cool game. You ever played a motherfucking game?
Yeah, was that the WrestleMania game?
Yeah.
I had that game.
The first one was the arcade game.
Yeah, I had that one.
It's a pretty good game considering when it was incepted, you know?
Yeah.
That was really cool because I had Ann Ryan, Vince's assistant. I don't know if she still is, but she was his longtime assistant, calling me direct, you know? Second time I came in to work with Matt Bourne, they sent an agent with, which was smart. They sent Blackjack Lanza with to supervise because the boys were a little out of control at the time, you know? There was no, other than the fact that you're making money, boys were boys. And this control thing, they could easily fuck that deal up, you know? Especially a guy like Matt Bourne, who was a great fucking human being, but Matt, man, I mean, if he got out of control, nobody's going to stop that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Matt's going to set the rules where they didn't really need that at the time. They needed somebody that could abide by the rules. They sent Blackjack Lanza with as an agent to try to help control that, which Jack knew Bourne. I think Jack worked with Bourne's daddy, but Jack had no fucking clue what he was getting into with Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne was pretty new at Vince's, and he was really over his motherfucking doink. Like, way over. He was Bally Midway's most inspirational character to do the NBA Jam with motherfucking wrestling, you know? The gimmick was amazing, and Matt was amazing at it. A clown that could actually rip your fucking head off.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about Doink just yesterday, and what a great gimmick that was. A gimmick that should not have worked, but you put it on the right guy.
And all that shit goes to Vince McMahon. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the guy, but he had an idea, might have tried it with other people, had other people in mind, but not like Matt. You know, Matt.
I remember that character because it reminded me of Cesar Romero's Joker from the old Batman TV show.
That was before the Batman movies too, right?
No, it was just after. It was
okay.
Because Nicholson was the Joker in '89, so
okay.
Doink came around, I think, in '92.
Okay, I got you. Wasn't trying to cut you off.
No, that's cool.
So, you know, me and Matt and I were both down at World Class at the fucking Sportatorium. Everybody got $75 a fucking match, and we were only working on Fridays, which sucked.
Yeah.
Maybe Saturdays. 1 day a week. And, you know, just to make things fair, nobody had nothing to bitch about, or everybody had something to bitch about. That's what we were paid. So, Matt, and I told you this before, I've told everybody this before, that Matt's first pay-per-view check was $7,500 fucking dollars, you know, which is fucking huge. So Matt was playing hard to work with, and he'd been up all night partying, because that's what you did in Chicago. You go to the Stay Out Lounge, and you fucking stay up all night and party, you know. This is a long, horrifying day. Wrestling, you're in the locker room. When you're a worker, you don't spend much time putting your shit together, then you go out there and perform. Well, I'll be goddamned. I mean, this is like fucking even worse than drills, the things you're trying to do and get right for this video game. I don't think Matt has ever used to something like that. And it will wear your ass out. They had what they would call craft services, but craft services were shit, man. It was snacks. You know, you're talking about a guy that's 260 fucking pounds, probably 6'2" or 3. There wasn't enough food to eat, so that motherfucker was spent, but he was selling being spent. You know, halfway through the day, like, fuck this and fuck these guys, you know what I mean? He didn't understand the money that he was going to make from the game and the money the company was going to make for the game, but also where this puts you in the pecking order with Vince McMahon and the company, you know? So I just said, Matt, motherfucker, I mean, Jack's trying to get him up, and he's just laying there, and Jack's calling the office, and I go, fuck this, let me try it. Matt! Dude, 3 years ago or less than, we were making $75 a night a piece, if we needed it or not, in the Sportatorium. You just made your first pay-per-view check for $7,500. Come on, man, get up, let's finish this motherfucking thing. Guy looks at me for a second, I was like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? But he shakes his head, shakes it off, pops up, and man, we finished that shit, record time. You know? So this is, you know, Jack's like, man, you got away with people. And I'm like, thanks, you know?
Yeah,
that was cool.
Can't argue with the result, because that was a great game. I used to love playing that.
Yeah, and like, by today's standards, let's say a kid that's 12 to 18 looks at the video game and sees the shit. You don't understand. A human actually went through those movements, and then they were taped and digitized.
Yep.
You know what I mean? A human had to do that shit, so it was a lot of work. You know?
I remember the magazine back before the game came out. They had like a behind-the-scenes kind of feature. It showed everybody against the green screen, the guys in the green suits with the cables and the wires. Looked like a movie set.
Unbelievable. And that's all shit that I incepted with Trammell. You know, the moves and how to do them, you know? Then we didn't have no wires with Matt. They got it later because I actually had to hold that fucker up for a standing suplex for like fucking 20 seconds, 10 times in a row. Oh, you know what I mean? But they gave us some help. They got some help later.